Hola mi gente, welcome back to me. Hola mi gente, it's Kat. Welcome back to my top 24 that I am going to read in 2024. So I don't want to wait too long or talk too much right now because I do that a lot. And let's just get right up into it. I have 24 books off of my TBR, that I've had. Some I've had forever, some I've acquired recently, so they're a big spectrum of them. And I plan to read these in the year 2024. And hopefully at the end of the year, I can do a video and see how many of them I did manage to read. So that's going to be exciting. So let me go ahead and start with the ones that I, everybody say hello. Miss Bonnie would like to say hello. Bonnie, you want to say hello? No? Oh, there, yep, just the back of Bonnie. Anyways, sorry. Share me talking was like, what you doing, Mom? Anyways, so I was going to say the ones I'm really looking forward to reading, but you know what? I'm pretty much looking forward to reading all of these. That's why I picked them. They're the top 24 off of my TBR that I was like, oh, I need to read these. Okay, so let's just get into it, right? The first one that I actually just received this past year is Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I know it's kind of a cozy mystery romance, magical type of thing. I don't know if there's witches in it or not. I kind of have a feeling there is. I am again in my witch era, so I'm hoping there's witches in there. And I believe like the main protagonist's name, August, returns home after having had to leave because he was accused of having murdered someone who I think he didn't murder, and he's reunited with his like high school sweetheart or his soulmate or something, and it's just kind of figuring out what happened, I guess, that actually happened in that mystery. So you're solving the mystery. I know it's really lovely. A lot of people love it, so I'm looking forward to this one a lot. The next one, and this is one of my favorite, recent favorite authors, Akwaeke Emenzi, who wrote Pet, which is one of my favorite books. I want to read The Death of Vivek Oji. I know it is about it's a Nigerian boy whose mother finds his body on her front door. And I'm not sure what the story is. I don't know if it's telling how that happened. It's her trying to find out what happened and solving the murder of her son. If it is, I feel like this is going to be a story about grief, obviously, and I don't know what else it is, but I love Akwaeke Emenzi's writing. They are amazing, and so I'm going to really look forward to reading this from them. This will be my third book I have read from them, and I'm very excited about that one. One that I'm sure some of you out there are going to be like, girl, you have not read this yet? No? The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I know this is amazing. It's in verse, which I absolutely love reading books in epistolary books and books in verse. They're some of my favorites to read. I can get through them so quickly, and I usually love them a lot. I'm currently looking forward to this one because I've had it on my TBR for very, very, so long. So, and I'm not even going into it. People, this has been out there for so long. People know what it is. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next one. Now, this is one that I was given to me by my best friend to read for, I think it was Asian American Pacific Islander month a couple years ago, and I never was able to read it, but I got myself a copy because it sounded so intriguing. It's called The Silence of Bones by June Her. And it's a mystery, I think. There's a detective that you're following, set in 1800. Yoseon, I think is how you say it. 16-year-old soul. Yeah, so he, I guess, maybe finds a dead woman or something. Something happens with the dead body. He and the inspector become very close, and they're very connected through the case. And yeah, so I have read 2 of these authors' books. I've really enjoyed both of them. One of them has a bit of a sad connotations for me now. So I kind of want to read another one to sort of, get a happy feeling again about this author. And I'm going to pick up the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I love Grady Hendrix' ridiculous over-the-top storytelling. It fits me. I love it because horror, some of my favorite horror is super ridiculous horror, and a lot of my favorite horror is horror comedy, so this is right up my alley. I know it's about a woman who has a book club, and a new neighbor moves in, and she believes he's a vampire, so I think it's trying to figure out how to deal with that and how to not get themselves killed by a vampire. That seems to be the basis of the story. It reminds me a lot of Fright Night, if anyone's ever watched the movie Fright Night, which is kind of the same concept, sort of. I prefer the 80s movies to the one in the 2010s, although that one was good too. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one. Probably won't be reading it till October though, but happy to read it. The next one in here is Ace of Spades by Farida Abiki Iyamidi, I think is how you say the name. I should definitely listen to how to say it, so maybe I should do that. Yes. All right, so Ace of Spades by Farida Abiki Iyamide, which I think is, I'm not sure what this book is about. It's been so long. It has to do with like a private school and two students. Maybe they're getting blackmailed, or there's a mystery. There's two students. I've been wanting to read it. I'm glad I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna read it this year. All right, this one is definitely on my top to read because I've only read one of this author's books, but I loved it so much. I've been meaning to finish that particular series, but I saw this and just what it's based off of. This is for me. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brendan Sanderson, which I believe Sanderson wrote this for his wife as a gift, and she told him, you need to publish that. And I think it's based off of The Princess Bride, but what if Princess Buttercup was the one who went to rescue him rather than the other way around? And yeah, it's something to do with like her traveling. So it's a pirate. I think it's also like a pirate book because she travels on the sea. Meets a lot of people, makes enemies and friends, and travels on the sea. And the sea's special because I think it's made of spores, and the different spores do different things. I'm not 100% sure, but I hear this is fantastic. I love The Princess Bride. I really like Sanders's writing of what I've read, and so this is one of my top ones for this year. The next one I've had forever and ever on my TBR, and I've been afraid to read it because I loved their first one so much. I gave it 5 stars. It's my best friend's favorite book. It's one of my top 10 favorite books, and that would be Night Circus by Erin Morgenson. So I have been putting off reading The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern because I'm afraid. But I think it has to do with, I don't know, books. I've tried not to read too much about it. Maybe it has to do with doors. It has to do with doors, right? Searching for doors. Finding meaning in life. I'm not 100% sure. I know the keys are important. Bees are important. Swords are important. That's all I really know about it. But yeah, so looking forward to reading that. Have literally no idea what it's about. That's weird. I know it's been out forever, but I'm actually really good at not listening to spoilers about things if I don't want to. So the next one I have is another one that I've been meaning to read forever. This is another author that I love so dearly, and they are amazing, and that is Casey McQuiston. So her One Last Stop, which is a sapphic love story. Mwah! And I'm very excited to read this. Representation is the best. I don't know if one of these particular characters may be bisexual. I don't remember. I think so. So thanks for the rep, Casey. And so yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue so much. And I've just been looking for a time to read it. I think I'm actually going to read this in February, so it'll be read near the beginning of the year. Editing Cat here to say she's a liar and she did not read it in February. This next one came out, I feel like it came out now more than a year ago, like maybe a year and a half ago. It came out a while ago. And that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Janet Curdy. This is the only nonfiction I have on this list. I have more nonfiction that I want to read, obviously, but this is the only one I have on this particular list. And this is the sort of memoir that Jeanette has written about her relationship with her mother and her growing up. If you don't know, Jeanette McCurdy was one of the stars of the show iCarly. Actually, the best character ever, Sam. I don't particularly care about the reboot because she's not in it. Anyway, she just talks about her abusive relationship with her mother. Her mom was pretty horrible to her. She was emotionally, mentally abusive, maybe even physically abusive. She also talks about how the relationship sort of brought on her eating disorder, and just about her struggles, and then having that relationship with her mother where she loved her mother, but also her mother was awful, and how she didn't even really begin to, I believe talking about how she didn't even begin to be able to start healing until her mom passed away. So yeah, I love this so much. The cover of this is I love the colors. I love it. And I'm really excited. I know she talked about possibly writing fiction as well, so I'm really excited to see if she comes out with anything else. But yeah, I'm gonna be reading it this month. I'm not sure when, but this year. I'm not sure when though, but at some point. The next one I have is called Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. I've had this on my list on my TBR for maybe a year and a half, a couple years. My best friend gave this to me a while back, and it's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like so good. It's a queer love story, but it's like a queer science fiction love story set on these two planets between these two men who I think have to two princes who have to like get married as a sort of like I think that's what it is. It's where they have to get married to bring together. Yeah, they have to get married to sort of bring together their two planets. One of them is a widower. And so another wants to wed, but there's like a conspiracy going on. So they have to sort of, marry their kingdoms together, and then it's about them falling in love in the process of that. So it's an arranged marriage, which genuinely is one of my actual favorite tropes, believe it or not. I love like pretend like dating, like fake marriage turned to love. It's like one of my favorites. So I'm excited about this one. It sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know much else about it, but it sounds like a good time. Then the next one is one of the biggest books last year, or the year before, it must have been the year before, because last year was actually a different book by this author. Babel, an Arcane History by R.F. Kuang. It's actually, wait, what is the title? Babel, or The Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translators' Revolution. That's the actual title. We're just going to call it Babel. And yeah, it's set in Oxford, about language and like a linguistic revolution, and that's all I know about it because I've been really good about not finding out anything else. She thick, friends. She thick. So I'll have to read this in a month that I just don't have a lot to read, or just focus on this, because it's going to take me a minute to read this. Okay, so next after that is also one I've had. I'm sorry, give me a second. I have to move my books. Please don't spill, please don't spill, please don't spill. Okay, I am back. All right, the next one I have, I'm contemplating where I'm going to leave these books, right where they are. Anyway, sorry. The next one I have is Girls Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. I love Ashley Herring Blake. I love a bisexual queen who is representing so great in almost all their books, or her books. And I know this is a story about a girl whose twin brother is accused of, or her best friend accuses her twin brother of raping her. And it's just that, I heard it's just heartbreaking and difficult to read, because there's that whole like she believes her best friend, but she's also like, how could her twin do something like this? There's a lot going on here, and in like along with that, I think she's there's like a romantic thread through it too for her. She's, I think, met somebody. So there's a lot going on in it, and I heard it's really, really great, and I would really like to read it this year. The next one is for one of my favorite Latinx author, and that is Isabel Allende. And I want to read A Long Petal of the Sea. Isabel Allende writes such beautiful prose. She's one of my favorites, and I love how she immerses you in the culture that she's in, whatever culture she's talking about, the stories, how her characters are so very vivid. She, some of her books are very connected to some of the characters kind of, you can find in some of her other ones. I don't know that this is one that would connect with any of her older work, but I've always loved that about her. And I believe this is set in the 1930s during the Civil War in Spain. And it's about a pregnant young widow who finds her life intertwined with an army doctor and the brother of her deceased love. In order to survive, the two must unite in a marriage neither of them desires. So it's about refugees and being displaced and just kind of building a life after that. And I'm hoping that because it is a marriage of convenience or necessity in this manner, that maybe there is some love that grows to that, because again, like I said, that is one of my favorite tropes, but it would be different in this, that it's a silly sort of thing in romance, but when it's something sort of this serious, I'm very interested to see how that works out. So yeah, looking forward to this one, A Long Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende. I know she has a completely new one out already, and I haven't even read this one yet. Now, this one next, I need to read because it means I will finally complete this series. I really loved the first book. I adored the second book. I have heard mixed things about the third book, but I'm going into it with like, I'm going to hopefully enjoy this, and that is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I really loved Illuminae, but I adored Gemini. So, and I know everybody comes back in this book, like all the characters that I know are here, and I don't know if we meet new characters, but I'm gonna assume we might. I don't know. I think we do, actually. I think we meet a couple new characters. Anyway, so yeah, and my favorite thing about this is I love epistolatory novels, but this is mixed media, which is so wonderful. It's all redacted files and emails, instant messages, transcripts, court documents. It's awesome. I love this so much. And I get through these books. I mean, they're big, and yeah, this is like 613 pages or something like that. I usually can get through these really quickly. So I hope I can pick it up at some point during this year. Another one that I started to read this, and then I stopped reading it, not because I didn't love it. I actually really loved it. I stopped reading it because a lot of stuff happened last year, and I just was not in the mood for a lot of reading, and so I put it down. But I'm going to pick up again Hail Mary by Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I love this already. The voice of the main character, he was quite funny, not quite Mark funny, but pretty funny. And I really enjoyed this, and I really I think I had just gotten to the point, so I'm gonna have to reread it, because where I'd stop, I was like 150 pages in or something. I don't want to spoil it, so yes. Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. I'm excited about that one. I'm gonna have to start rereading it, but that's fine. 150 pages, oh god. Anyways, okay, so the next one is Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. I love Shannon McGuire's series. Sorry, there's some drama happening with my class. I wasn't feeling great today, so I took the day off, and you don't care. Something's happening. I'm gonna need to deal with it. Okay. Wayward Children. So I really, again, Shauna McGuire, Middle Game. I really enjoy her Wayward Children series. I couldn't remember for a second, but now I remember. And I know this is like loved. A lot of people love this. It's about twins. I can't remember their names right now, but twins that were created by a scientist or something, and that's all I really know. So thank goodness. I don't know anything else. I don't want to know anything else. The next one, I've had a lot of thick books. This is like my stack of big books, I guess. Yeah. All right. So the next one is probably the biggest one in here. Actually, no. Well, yeah, kind of. Anyway. Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, which is supposed to be such a fantastic horror novel. It's about a husband and a son who have to deal with the death of their wife and mother, and have to return home to her family. And I think the family there's creepy stuff happening there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's their story that deals with that. So I think it deals with grief along with other horror motifs that they have. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to doing. I don't know if I'll read it before Halloween. I probably should though, because it's a big one. The next one is the second in the Flavia Deluce series. I read the first one a really long time ago. I bought all of these ages ago, and I don't know why. I enjoyed it a lot. So it's called The Weed, the Strings, and the Weed That Strings the Hangman's Bag by Alan Bradley. I really found Flavia to be quite precocious and funny and interesting character, and her family's so interesting, all the dynamics that they have there. So I'm excited to kind of pick up the next one and see where it goes. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I don't have a lot to say about this one, but yeah, it's one that I have been had on my TBR for a very long time. The next one I have is one that I will be reading very soon. Hello, Sawyer. My dog Sawyer. Hi. Hello. Hi. What's going on? What did you see? Oh, I'm sorry. You okay? Can I finish? Can I finish? Sorry. You don't like the camera. Bye. Bye. I'll see you in a bit, okay? Thank you. All right, the next one I'm going to read is Heartstopper, Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. I've already talked about this previously in a TBR, and yeah, I love this particular series so very much. As a queer person, an older queer person who would have loved to have this as a young queer person, I'm just so happy this is out there for everybody to read. I love these two characters so much. They are the sweetest and most wholesome kids, and like, people don't want to believe that there's this idea that like teenagers are these like rebel rousers all the time, and there's just such negative stereotypes that people like to give teenagers, because you know they themselves don't have the capacity to be compassionate, empathetic adults. I'm talking as a teacher, so I see this all the time, and like, most kids are not the way they're portrayed on television and shows, even in movies. Most kids are a little more like this. There's a balance. They're very wholesome. There's a balance, and just makes me very happy to see this kind of lovely sort of portrayal of teenagers, and how, you know, and their lives, and how lovely they are in a book form. So very excited to read this one. I know there's one more volume after this one, and I think this is them having to kind of deal with the fact that Nick's got to go to college, I guess, after this book, and I guess how they feel about that. And I'm thinking we're still gonna deal with, of course, all the struggles that Charlie's having with his eating disorders. So yeah, I'm gonna read this like probably this weekend, to be fair. So that one will definitely get done. Number 1. All right, next I have, I'm almost done. Oh my God, it's killing me. Okay, I have The Lovely War by Julie Berry. I've had this on TBRs for so long. It's like a it's like 2 stories in one. It is a story that it's set in Paris. The story's being told by Aphrodite, I believe. She's in a hotel room with a few other gods, and she's telling the story about these 4 people, and I think the story she's telling is set in like maybe World War II times, and it's about 2 couples, and it's just, I guess, about what happens to them and their love stories over time, I guess. I'm not 100% sure why she's telling the story. I don't know a lot. I just know I love that there was, you know, like 2 sort of stories layered together in here, which is the gods story and then the gods telling the story about these humans. And yeah, I'm gonna read it this year. Probably another one that I will try to read in February. Because I'm trying to do books with romances in it for February. The next one that I've had forever and I am going to read this year is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've been meaning to read this forever. I am currently going to be reading this month, so this will be read way before October, because if I wait till October, I won't read it. And it is the story of a girl named, what is her name? Noemi. And Noemi is like a socialite. Her family's pretty well off. And then she gets, they get some sort of message. One of her cousins had just recently got married. They get some sort of message that worries them. So the family sends her to go check on her cousin. And when she gets there, things are weird. The house is weird that her cousin lives in. The family that her cousin married into is strange, and she becomes worried and decides to figure out what is going on. I think it's like a haunted house story. I think there's also like maybe a romance in there. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. I've only got 2 left for my top 24 of 2024 that I'm going to read, and I just literally got this yesterday. And I will be reading it this month because I'm going to be reading this for, I had a different book picked out, but then I finally saw this and bought it, and so this will be the one that I'll be using. I will be reading this for Kayla's buzzword reading challenge for the year, and for January the word is there, that you have to read a book with there, any version of there that you can find. So I picked up Out There Screaming, which is a collection or anthology of new Black horror. So it's horror stories written by Black authors, and it's edited by Jordan Peele. So yeah, that's all. So yep, I will be reading this month. I'm not even gonna say anything else. That's enough. Pick it up. Please pick it up. And then the last one, I have been putting off reading this forever because I loved the first one, Strange the Dreamer, and my best friend absolutely adored this one, and I've been kind of like, oh my god. Both, I don't want the series to end because I love it, and also, will I love it as much as I want to love it? And that is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I know this was like forever ago that this came out. This is like such an old book, but I want to see what happens to Strange. I want to see what happens after the, like, I don't want to say anything if you haven't read it, Strange the Dreamer, so I kind of like a little excited to find out what happens at the end, like what the repercussions of what happened at the end of Strange the Dreamer is in terms of what happens in Muse of Nightmares. And if my favorite terrible character is as amazing as they were in the first one. So yeah, this will be read this year. Don't know when though. Those were the 24 stories the 24 books I'm going to read in 2024, all off my TBR, so I can get my TBR done. I'm actually going to probably put them, now that I think about it, I have like an empty space in one of my, you can see there's like an empty space down here. I think I might put them there just so that I have them separated from my TBR, and maybe that'll really help me. Oh, sorry. Ooh. Maybe that'll really help me, I don't know, get it done. That'll be helpful. Okay, so I hope to see you guys soon. Please tell me in the comments what are some of the books that you want to read this year in 2024. But yeah, just let me know what you think. Are you going to read any of these books this year? Have you read any of these books, and did you like them? Do you have any recommendations of which ones I should start with first? I've got a couple that I'm going to start with first, but any recommendations on the ones you think I would enjoy the most? And I hope you guys have a great day. See you soon. Bye.